Riddler, you fiend.
Fantastic, pretty lady. Uncanny.
On the belt. On to the bat hunt.
I see.
Hello, my fellow human earthling beings, Goy and Kafir. And Gaijin. Let's not leave that one out. Hope everyone's doing well. Apologize for all the delays. I was hoping that someone would join us to talk about the grooming gang epidemic in the UK, which is a global issue. Yeah, and that would have led to all kinds of other little tidbits and videos and stuff that I would have shared with you guys. I'm going to hold off on that. Either, I mean, this is something that he impromptu, like he just on his own accord has been kind of sort of not at this point of the way it's going, hounding me about doing a stream with me about this stuff, but is also unavailable. Anyway, maybe blessed, whatever. But I'll either save that stuff to do one with him, so we can also discuss the UK thing, which is our current topic. Thankfully, thank God, people are fighting back. Or I'll just do one on my own. I've got a bunch of. I mean, that's going to be. I mean, yeah, that could go on and on and on. Talk about a series in itself. So there's all kinds of things, especially Hollywood and how it promotes it and pushes it and influences people. I mean, just buckle up, people. It's going to be quite the ride. But we're going to get into it today with regards in the aspect of human trafficking with Universal Pictures. Now, I'll take a focus on Universal Pictures a bit, going from Paramount, and there are some others. We did some others, but mostly we're focusing on Paramount. But yeah, Universal Pictures is yeah, it's quite astounding. MCA and all that. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know where to begin because I'm kind of frustrated, and that's the online world. I had this video already put up and pre-approved, the video file that we're going to do a watch party for in the middle of this live stream. but it's all of a sudden disappeared. I've got 3 videos listed on my, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. It's just disgusting. YouBoob. I mean, they need to be held accountable. Their feet to the fire, especially the shenanigans that did in lockdown, but it's ongoing. They're fascists and they need to be held accountable. That's all there is to it. The promotion of the UN fundraising for the terrorist Muslims, which are being sued. But these people are above the law somehow, these socialist media mega-conglomerates that are controlling everything we say and think and thereby do. It's horrendous. Some people like Candace always held them just accountable to some degree, but you see she's being treated by an enemy, even by the quote-unquote Christian apologists. It's just quite disturbing to say the least. I'm quite sick of it. Those who have a brain and have a soul and have a heart, please unite and hold these vermin, these propagandists, these common Nazi pagan fascists, hypocrites accountable. It's well beyond time. Mass media is the biggest plague of the 20th to 21st century. And if you haven't watched either part of any one of my streams or videos that I've done and still deny that, I don't know what to say about you. So it needs to be addressed. They control, they dictate what we say and think through the www.55566 internet. This beast that's been spawned out of the United States. And it needs to be, quote unquote, regulated. It needs to be held accountable, to say the least. Okay. And then the stuff that when you get into the grooming and the pedophilia, which I've been holding off on. I mean, we've got all kinds of ammo. That's gonna mess you up. It might scar you for life, some of this stuff. But it needs to be addressed. And I'm one of the few that's willing to do it, at least proper. And look at how I'm being treated. May be blessed. All right, so yeah, here what I'm showing you guys is basically I try to organize all the things that I've done, the videos and live streams and shorts, in a way that's accessible and easy to find. Including things like what we're doing tonight, the Hollywood Hebrew roots, the early movie industry. And I'd like to do one on going as far back as vaudeville, though. For that, I don't know what I'm going to feature, either review or watch party. So I might just do a live stream, just like a presentation. We'll see. There's a lost film that I love to get my hands on. Their First Misunderstanding, and we'll touch on that today. It's available. It's in the U.S. Library of Congress, whatever. They've got a copy. They had a public screening. So it exists, and if anyone knows how to get a copy of it, I'd love to get my hands on it, to review it, study it, and share. That would be awesome. Anyway, but today we've got another really awesome one. The first full feature of Universal. Let's see how that's going to. I'm kind of jumping around, but just so you guys can see, I'm actually literally, as we speak, in the process of re-uploading this thing because YouBoob is just pure evil. Oh, looks like it's complete. Copyright content found. Okay, it was cleared before. Let's see what shenanigans are pulling this time. People in some countries can't watch her video. Okay, this is completely different than what happened the first time. What the hell? Let me get a screenshot of this. I mean, this is absurd. This is happening in real time, people. And this is how accountable YouBoob is. This is how accountable. Censorship shenanigans. All right. Let's see. Details. Not affected. There's this tiny little segment they found that's partially blocked, and therefore I can't show it in some countries. Are you serious? Oh, Lord have mercy, man. What the hell? Again, where's the accountability? Where's the decency in this? Wow. Wow. Okay. a little clip from this original movie, documented, Library of Congress. I mean, way before. This is copyright galore. Everyone's dead in this movie. So even with the addendums added to the copyright issues post 1970s, this should be completely free, completely public domain. What the hell's going on here? It's absolute shenanigans by YouTube. That's all there is to it. It's bottom line. Again, pre-approved before, disappeared. I couldn't find it. Probably made invisible. One of those three. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. For future watch parties. By the way, here's what we're going to watch in the future. If you guys are still with me, you're not hating because you're quote unquote grace alone, not acts, and your behavior therefore shows. I mean, don't buy their fruits. Your behavior shows where your heart really is. But if you're still with me outside of that, we'll be watching, well, The Woman God Forgot. We might do a rewatch of that with Lily of Speaker's Corner. She agreed to do that, and I'm elated, but she since disappeared. She just reached out on her own accord about being stalked or hunted or something, potentially Muslims. I don't know the details. So let's pray for her as well. I mean, these people, they're literally putting their lives on the line. Also, if Thaddeus has been MIA, anyone who follows his channel knows that he's disappeared, stopped doing content for a while. So he might be fine. It might be a case of the holidays or something. Nothing too major. Regardless, prayers all around for him too, please. And, for the rest. I mean, these people putting their lives on the line. So, Four Mormons just recently was putting his, inviting people to his house for discussion publicly. And the guy can't even move. And he's got a young lady taking care of him. I'm not a big fan of that. I know he's got police right next door and all that stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, maybe blessed. So prayers for him and so on. So check it out. You can see the list. We're talking Myra Breckenridge. People make fun of my name. Lord have mercy. Easy Living. Jacob, the man who fought with God. The Little Princess. The Brother from Another Planet, which is partially blocked, so I might skip that. And the superhero things are fading out. Let's say thank God. So, Birth of a Nation I've already done with. I did a review with Amir Zidane, and poor guy made him watch this movie. It's torturous, but we might do a watch party though. I don't know. We'll see, because it's such a significant film, and it's got D.W. Griffith, which we'll also discuss a bit today, touch on. So it's significant. We'll see. The Brotherhood of Death, interesting racist movie from the 70s. A Jazz Singer, I think we touched a bit on that already. The Gold Diggers of Broadway, the first, let's say, Technicolor, if you will. The Black Robe. Black Robe, 1991. Can't wait for that one. The Toxic Avenger, we did the sequel part 3. Boy, was that not great. But worse than that was Zapped Again. Man, we had to stop that I don't know, a fourth of the way in. I can't remember. It was horrendous. And I know this, at least these are B-rated films, let's say, but we're still talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people influenced by this junk. It's toxic stuff. Not to mention it's superhero stuff, so it definitely appeals to children. I mean, come on, rated R, but it's about superheroes. It's for adults for superhero stuff. It's like saying The Simpsons is for adults. Come on, man, grow up, get real, will you? Get real, people. The Human Tornado, another one, superhero. Probably won't do that one. Mr. Freedom, weird 70s or 60s, late 60s movie. Again, kind of superhero-ish, kind of just whack. We'll probably just watch that one, just so whack. I mean, it's quintessential 60s and 70s. So The Island, I'm looking forward to that. That's one I discussed, and it's coming up in the near future. Talking about monasticism as well as redemption. Powerful movie, moving and funny too. It's quite entertaining. Judge Priest, all in the title. The Cardinal we'll be doing next. I did have a schedule for tomorrow, but doing back to back because this one got pushed. I decided to go against that. I need my Sunday off anyway. I might just stop doing Sunday watch parties for my own well-being. So we'll see. It's nice to watch religious movies on a Sunday, but because I have to do what I have to do, I still have to analyze it, which is spiritually taxing on me. So I'd like to take a break from that and just celebrate on Sunday instead of doing things like that, even though it's, let's say, for the sake of the kingdom, let's put it that way, if I may, I'd still rather back off. So I might just reschedule that on Friday, the day the crucifixion is remembered, or Wednesday, the day of the betrayal, Judas. Yeah. All right. The Cardinal 1963. So, anyway, and we have a more modern version, 21st century, the Cardinal. But yeah, I just that one we can't watch because of copyrights. But yeah, you've seen a pattern here. It's obvious. Hyde Park Corner, 1935. This one will be of interest in these circles because of Speaker's Corner, Hyde Park. And you see 3 unavailable videos are hidden, which I suspect the one we just saw, we're going to watch tonight, is one of those. Okay, I can't even see what the heck that is. What is that? What kind of games are you playing, YouBoob? You fascist, crime-announcing pagans, you hypocrites, you vile, heathenous scumbags. All right, let's move on. Okay, so let's get to the presentation. Do I have anybody? Okay, we have one viewer. We're 1 or 2 gather, so I will be the second one. May be blessed. What's going on, Rumble? Rumble, we have 2, 1. Okay, maybe. I guess better than nothing. Maybe someone will watch later. And again, I apologize for rescheduling. I was hoping that I'm not gonna drop the name, but again, he's been. I haven't asked him. He's been telling me he's going to join and saying it over and over again. So I'm starting to have flashbacks. Anyway, maybe blessed. This is not even the cow that kicks his milk, because I didn't even go to the cow. The cow's chasing me. Whatever. I don't know what's going on with this people, man. The online world's whack, to say the least. Anyway, maybe blessed. All right. Enough about me. Let's go ahead and share this this presentation. And we're doing a bit of an in-depth look at Universal Studios, and then we'll do the watch party. And then we'll have a discussion afterwards, how it goes. You guys feel free to join. Oh yeah, let me put the link up there to join me. Hold on. I'm gonna put that in the chat for both YouTube, Rumble, etc. Feel free to join. Pin that on top. Okay. Actually, I should do that. Yeah. Let me give me 1 minute. Let me go ahead and pin that on YouTube as well. Give me 1 second. I've got to make a few clicks just for the very convenient sake. Later on, someone might actually want to join later, and it keeps me from fumbling around later like I'm doing right now, since nobody's really watching. No offense to whoever the one person is that is watching now. Let's see. Come on. You can do it. All right. All right. By the way, I may change my headset. I was going to do that tonight, but I don't want to risk it. I already have enough tech issues, as you can see. So, all right, yeah. So that's pinned up on YouTube as well as Rumble. Feel free to join. Okay, so we also have the movie available now. Come on. Supposed to have the movie available right now. I just uploaded it. Hello. What is going on? Okay, there it is. What the heck? Breathe. Breathe. This is what the enemy wants. Wants to drive you crazy. Wants to make you angry. Not give Satan the satisfaction, nor his minions. All right. Yeah. Okay. Presentation. Let's put that up on stage. Let's make it bigger. Use this one. Nope. Make myself smaller. I guess that's the best one I got. Okay. That's weird. Okay. Yep. Universal Studios. So it's a mega conglomerate. It's been around forever. Arguably the first movie production studio in the U.S. It's a quote unquote parent company. I get the names mixed up myself. We got Universal Studios Inc., not to be confused with a theme park, Universal Studios. And then Universal Pictures is, ironically, it's completely backward. That is actually the sound studio, the movie production studio. So, but that's what came first. The chicken before the egg, or the egg before the chicken, what have you. So yeah, also NBC. It acquired NBC. It's a long, weird story, but there's a lot of back and forth. I mean, it's a big cesspool, gangbang orgy of back and forth of these, let's call it loyalties of people. It goes on and on, Goldwyn and on. I mean, it's just nuts. So, and buyouts and sellouts and foreign interests. You see foreign interests taking over in the late 20th century, especially the 90s. And BRICS is essentially completely taken over these days. I mean, that's a life study in itself, so to speak. There's a lot to unpackage, as they say there. But it's quite concerning, because if you thought the quote unquote the West, US/UK movie industry and its influence is bad, or Dutch, French, oy vey. Italian film is horrendous. You wait till you see what BRICS. I mean, look at the anime. I mean, those people are completely off the reservation, absolute pagans. So the grass is definitely not greener, unless we're talking about drugs, and then get into the opium thing, which the plague, and the other plague that's been pushed by BRICS, and so on. Anyway, I'm getting off on tangents. Let's get to the presentation. Yeah. So yeah, let's go into the first slide here. Okay. You know what? Can I make this bigger? Yeah, I guess I can. All right. I might not see your chat, because I'm going to make this bigger so I can see it better. If I don't see your chat, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's because I only have one monitor. I'm a very small production, and my one monitor, my one computer is about to die on me as it is. So I may not be with you longer, which I'm going to consider a blessing. No offense to you guys, but this has really burned me out. It's tearing me up, and it may be a blessing that my doctorates never became official, because that would have killed me as well. Anyway, so yeah, MCA. Let's say that that's one of many parent companies. Comcast, as you say, is and it's been spoken of before, not enough. That is the parent umbrella company to date. MCA was the original spawning of Universal Pictures, or let's say for convenience sake, Universal, the entity Universal. And I think that you'll see that the people who founded the production company, the video movie production, it's quite, I don't want to say mixed bag. It's like half Jewish, half British, and then for fun they threw in a Frenchman. So I'm not trying to group with regards to ethnicity, the kind of thing, but it's significant when it comes to the spiritual discussion. Freemasonry is quite rampant in the UK. Look at the Scottish Rite, and one of the most influential films that is talked about somewhat, The Birth of a Nation, but it's talked about for the sake of CRT. And the reboot Birth of a Nation is actually absolute CRT. It's the KKK supplanted by the Black Panthers Party, or whatever you want to call them, BLM kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, it's all one ball of wax with the same agenda. It's the same anti-Christian, a satanic agenda. And that's evidence. This is not conspiracy theory or religious fanaticism. Again, D.W. Griffith, who was involved in the birth of a nation. And I did a review with Amir Zadain again. I showed you how you can go to my playlists and find these things a lot more easily now, as the way they're grouped and organized for you, for your convenience. So, but I may do a live party because it is that significant. So I may do a live party for that as well. 3-hour long film. I don't know how that's going to go. I may do like a sped up version of it, which is a good idea actually. I might speed it up by 50% or something. We'll watch it that way. That'll decrease it by, let's say, an hour and a half. That would be a wise idea. I might do that. I might just do that 200% speed up. I might make it more entertaining too. Yeah. So I'll do that. That's not a bad idea. Cool. All right. So yeah. So founded by Goodhart Jr. Goodhart. Guess where he is from. But Jules Stein. No head scratchers there. So from the onset, we've got a dichotomy here of who's running Hollywood, who created it, and who's been in charge. So yeah, MCA booked music artists for speakeasies run by Chicago mobsters. So speakeasies, for those who might not be unfamiliar, were these private clubs, especially during the Prohibition period where booze was outlawed. So they were private clubs, of course, run by the mob. I mean, it's all mob run. In Hollywood, I mean, there's a large mob influence. And you don't have to look further than The Godfather to know that. The movie, the classic, which influenced a lot of people with lines like, keep your friends close, your enemies closer, which is insane. It's antithesis of common sense. Never mind decency. And certainly not Christian. Anyway, yeah, so, but that was an insider, a mob, and this was common with the mob, rats. So he was the head consultant for the making of those films. Who knows? I mean, the director, producer, his affiliations. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, MCA published music as well, booked acts, and this is all casting couch significance, by the way. Ran a record company. They also got into print later on. Television, as we've seen, in NBC. So radio has been quite influential and not taking a back seat, but as far as being cognizant and aware of its impact, somehow it's taken a back seat. But it's quite prominent, even on the internet to this day. So it's something that's completely overlooked somehow, and therefore even more powerful, more influential, because it's being influential in a crafty way. Produced and sold television programs to the big three. Now, the big three, so for those of you not old enough, for the longest time, since, let's say, the 50s, when TV became a staple for every house. Everybody had a television, just like everyone had one car back in the 50s. So it was a symbol of prominence. Look at my TV. I've arrived. So everyone was watching television while eating dinner after work was the common practice. It became a centerpiece of culture and mindsets, therefore, since mid-20th century. And it was only 3 companies. Analog, you had these rabbit ears that would catch waves, or these originally circles or what have you, that caught the radio waves or television waves, and that's how you got a signal into your TV. And all these radio waves are floating, and we have cancer. We don't know why, allegedly. I mean, one of many insanely profitable things that cause cancer is that, and it's ongoing with these 5G towers and so on, quote unquote, allegedly. Bugger off. So yeah, ABC, CBS, and NBC were the big three. And everyone, again, was watching it. Everyone, for example, when we were young, we would watch a program, primetime television, 8 p.m. after dinner, let's say. And then the next day, we'll talk about it in the school. We were all watching the day before. We wanted to all be the first to talk about, ooh, look, I have this knowledge because I watched this. You know, again, a sign of prominence and intelligence, and being arrived. Quite insane. And then now we have viral. Does it get more revelation of the method than calling it viral? All right. Lou Wasserman, and people make fun of my name. Okay. Ethnicity there. Sonny Werblin. Ethnicity there. So 30s is the golden age of television. And they moved the company, and we're talking about the parent company now. The movie production company was already there in 1912, was when the sound studio was built. The first full feature, they were making all these, silence, let's call them shorts. But their first full feature is what we're going to watch today. Traffic in Souls, which is the topic again, is human trafficking, prostitution, sex slave trade of white people, which I have some personal experiences with, which I'm going to share with you today after the viewing. And it would have been good if the other guest was here to talk about what's going on in the UK and the grooming gangs with Islam, which is a global epidemic. Never mind, in China. And I'm going to save that bit for the future. You guys buckle up, man. Buckle up. Yeah, Steins. I wonder where that one's from. All right, so he's the Jules Stein here. He's the let's say the head honcho, the head Jew in charge, HJC, not the head nigga in charge, as we used to say in the 90s, or the blacks used to say, for the record. So it's quote unquote okay. But yeah, the head Jew in charge was Stein. Does it get more comical than that? But factual. But we got Lloyd. Oh, conspiracy theory, anti-Semite. Oh, bugger off. Take a hike, man. Mr. PhD doctor, who's an apologist for Freemasons as well, who acts like a commie. And the like, all of you who, oh, you anti-Semites, I could kill you. You're worse than the Jews. At least the Jews are being Jews. What's your excuse? Especially when you call yourselves Christian. Lord have mercy. Enforcing everyone, by the way, to fall, I mean, by peer pressure into this false dichotomy, taking away from Christ. I mean, it's disgusting. The cults on the online are, and that's who's empowered by these commie Nazi pagans. That's empowered. And, you know, people like me who are, I mean, I don't sound like it, but let's argue Christ-centered. Let's argue that. Let's argue this is a righteous anger, but I wouldn't say that about myself. I'm just, in fact, if anything, I complain about what this stuff is doing to me, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. So let me just get out of this large mode, make sure I'm not missing any chats. Nope. Okay. Yeah. And then again, I keep making it about me. I'm sorry, guys. It's just, you guys have no idea how much this stuff is burning me out. And, you know, you can see a transformation in me, how much I'm digressing. If you've been following me for a little bit, but especially lately, to any degree, been following me. And if you're new to my channel, man, I can only imagine what you think of me. And I can't blame you much. It's just, but this stuff is toxic. That's my whole point. And I'm trying to make people aware of this to liberate them from it. Yeah. So hope you understand that. Hope you realize that. And as the movie said, unplug. Okay. So this is complete junk. So yeah, give me 1 second to fix this glitch. My apologies. I got another glitch. Yet another glitch. This is why we don't, by by the way, jam microchips into our brains. Anyway, okay, so let me get back to the presentation. Crisis averted, let's say. Oh, by the way, we'll also be watching, anyway, so we'll get to that. Okay, where was I? Produced the sold television. The big three. Okay, Weberman, Stein's code of creation. Okay, Stein's codification of talent policies. Okay, now this is again a talent agency for the most part. It's a movie production, radio production, talent agency. They're controlling who comes in, becomes famous. Casting couch, anyone? So it was called back then the rules of the road. The rules of the road. Is there anything more menacing? Hey, the rules of the road. Follow the rules or hit the road. By Stein. This is his own name for it. It's not a nickname. Hey, under murmurs, hey, this guy's got these things and let's call it the rules of no. He was proud of it as the Muslims. Pedos, I'm proud of it. Yeah. Jules Stein. Oh, by the way, it's the largest talent agency in the world, over 700 clients at the time, and nicknamed, oh, you can't see it here. It's nicknamed the Octopus. If you don't believe me, look it up. Unfortunately, there's another glitch right there. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's nicknamed the Octopus. Huh. What kind of nickname is that? Revealing much? U.S. Department of Defense, or Department of Justice, sorry. I'm getting confused with, by the way, the Department of Defense actually reached out to me to apply for a position for them as a structural designer. Can you imagine that? Someone like me working for them? They must have either wanted to buy me out or I don't know what, but that wouldn't have worked that well. God forbid, actually sold out. Anyways, the U.S. Department of Justice investigated breaking antitrust laws and mob associations. Okay, mob associations. Antitrust laws, there seems to be some integrity early on with regulation, but as the industries themselves, and that's across the board, you're talking about the movie industry, logistics like trucking and so on and on, print, comics, as we talked about, the Comic Code Authority. They were all taken over eventually and very early on by the industry itself, by industry leaders. And so, in other words, they were writing the laws for their own regulation. So what kind of regulation is that? So maybe some integrity early on, but that got sold out. It's quite unfortunate. And that's where we have the problems that we have today. So the U.S. Department of Justice at that time, and again, this is the early 1900s, investigated breaking, okay, oh, we already got that. Screen Actors Guild President Ronald Reagan, actor, not the greatest actor in the world. Guess also mentioned, discussed, and you can look at InfoWars. What's the crazy? The frogs are gay. I forgot his name now. Brain doesn't work anymore. Can't recall anything anymore. Anyway, yeah, my brain's turning mush. Yeah, he talked about the Bohemian Grove in Northern California, that creepy ass cult with all the elites. He was a member there. Ronald Reagan was. So, but I applaud him and his wife for the say no. The say no culture and message, that had a huge effect, positive one. So, it's quite unfortunate that it didn't last as longer, but supplanted by riding dirty and all this pro-drug shenanigans throughout. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's quite tragic, to say the least. One of the three major creators of psychosis, by the way, is drug use. FYI. That's not a theory. It's not an opinion. It's scientific fact. Yeah, but no one wants to hear me. I would say no one. But it's a shame, man. It's a shame. I mean, it's tragic. For the love of God, people, wake up. Get real. Get real. At least with yourselves. At least be honest with yourselves. Screen Actors Guild. Screen Actors Guild. So let's call this a protection agency for actors, which no doubt has at least since been corrupted, but who knows how that began. I mean, when I see the word guild, automatically the red flags go up, and I think Freemason. All right, so Screen Actors Guild, President Ronald Reagan trumped policy allowing MCA into the TV industry because there was that antitrust issue going on. It's got too much control. It's cornering the market. But Ronald Reagan later, this is mid to late 20th century, he comes in and he says, who cares? And later becomes president. What do you know? Hollywood has no influence on politics, none whatsoever. Oy vey. Yeah, the 70s, Sidney Sheinberg. Wonder what his ethnicity is. Is he also an anti-Christian, a Jew? Is CEO, Multimedia Acquisitions, G.P. Putman's Sons Publishing. I mentioned earlier that they got into even the print. So they're all over the board. TV, movie, radio, print. This is universal. They're telling you your name. Look at the logos here. The rainbow early on. You see the employment of the rainbow. Was it rainbow ever associated with Noah's Ark, with God? Or was it always pagan? For the most part, in our minds, when those of us that are older, in younger days, it was associated with leprechauns and the occult, thereby the occult. And now these days with the Baphomet culture, the sodomites. It's absolute desecration of the holy, of the sacred. This rainbow is supposed to be a symbol of our covenant with God. But they've completely perverted it. And they're proud of their world domination and their logos and so on. It's revelation of the method. They're rubbing our noses in it. And anyone who says otherwise, I mean, just shut up. At least shut up. I mean, if you can't think, stop deceiving others, being part of the problem. For the love of God, just shut up. Okay, so we can see an evolution, let's say, of their logos. Speaking of which, and their domination. You can see early on, it's more, at least with the first logo, it's a bit more, let's say, on point with trying to represent who they are, even though you can see it's kind of sort of even then a bit pagan and celestial kind of. Yeah, I would say from the onset, it's pretty clear they're advertising who they are. Some of their blockbusters, their early blockbusters, Jaws, what became somewhat of a franchise. It's a woman called it a one-off, but there were sequels. So, but yeah, I mean that changed the way people view swimming. That movie, talk about influential. Never mind, made buku bucks. E.T., another one majorly influential. Now we're all friends with aliens. And look at, by the way, look at how they advertise that. And that an absolute desecration to Michelangelo's work. Not that I'm a fan of that to begin with. That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, the finger-touching finger thing. And by the way, this has become a whole cult thing. The finger-touching finger. Anime employs it. Except with two people now touching fingers, has become yourself touching fingers, and that's a source of power. There's also a TV series featuring a female who's an alien who touches her own fingers like that, and that's how she activates her alien superpowers. I can't remember the name of that offhand. Out of This World or something to that effect. So this symbol of touching your fingers, I think it's meant to be blasphemous. Let's say evidently so. and I don't think that's a stretch at all. I mean, just look at this image. It's kind of right in your face. And this moon thing and all that in the background, you know, the nature thing. And then the ET riding off in the sky, making the young boy levitate because of his relationship with the alien. I mean, the symbolism here of the occult and its grassroots movement. Now, these are children watching this junk and buying into it completely, wholesale. The damage Hollywood has done for decades, for generations now, is immeasurable, immeasurable. And it feels like I'm the only one that's talking about it, that's dressing any proper light on it. Jurassic Park. Now, these were franchises. I mean, the sequels. This one was written, was actually someone who, while he was still in Harvard, an atheist, was already writing classics. His books were being published and made available worldwide from onset. He did things like a drama to strain, interestingly forewarning. He was forewarning about some things. So I find him intriguing, even though he's atheist and a Harvard grad and given a lot of clout for some reason. He was forewarning about some things. Or was he normalizing it? I'm not sure, but certainly when you look at a drama strain and then the lockdown, even if not especially the movie representation of it. Yeah. Swarm. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on there that he talked about. Despicable Me. Talk about grassroots. And what is that? And then talk about Masonic. I mean, it's obvious there. You know, what is that supposed to be instilling in children? Despicable Me? Hello, it's in the title. What else needs to be said? That you're a stupid, brainless, half-wit, evil person? And that should be glamorized, but found to be comical. The Fast and the Furious, the thug culture, so prominent now, being made, Grand Theft Auto video games, and rap music, and on and on. I mean, and how much of a global influence that has had. Okay, so here I threw in some maps here so you guys can see. Again, Universal Pictures is the sound studio, or the sound studios. It's actually, as you see, Universal City. That's how massive it is. We're talking about over 400 square feet of land. Part was originally bought by Jews, 3 Jews, a Jewish couple and another Jew, joined forces and bought Hollywood, the property of, which established all these movie studios. A powerhouse worldwide for over a century. So you can see on the first map its location relative to other things. Beverly Hills is just south of that, and so on. And by the way, that, anyways, we talked about before about the Masonic Lodge, the Hollywood Masonic Lodge, how it was the first place where the first Academy Awards or Oscars was hosted, that ceremony. And since then, across the street at the, what do they call it? That's Sony, but I forgot the name of it. Anyway, right next to the Chinese theater. I'm just tired. I'm burnt out, these people. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it upbeat, but it's just I'm just completely burnt out. I'm trying my best to be entertaining for you as well, not just informative and angry, as you can see. But what angers me is these said self-labeled Christians who are running these online cults are pretending to be on your side while misleading you and attacking people like me. I'm trying to save you from the consequences, implications of their reach, their influence. They're hating on me. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not being vain here, but I'm just thinking aloud here. I mean, what else am I to expect? What else am I to expect? May be blessed. But yeah, you can see here, this Universal City, how big it is, how wild it is. Literally. And by the way, it's unincorporated, so it's got free reign. You get on that property, they're the governors. They're in charge. You got absolute legal right over you. As they say, quote unquote, good luck with that. Now you're in the hands of the pagans, the anti-Christians, the Jews, the Freemasons, and so on. So yeah, it was, it's not the oldest worldwide, by the way. The movie industry officially started, what was the first clip that's famous? The train, the locomotive or something like that, the beast, I can't remember, where there's just a one set camera and this filming, this moving, quote unquote, moving pictures is filming his camera kind of coming towards you at an angle, and people were freaking out. So much so when people first saw, quote unquote, moving pictures out in the West, they would pull out their 6-shooters and start shooting at the screen because they're freaking out. They thought it was possessed or being attacked or something. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It's just, and that represents just how, in our minds, I mean, just how passive an activity watching anything is. We're just sitting there, mouth agape, often, passively just taking everything in and taking it in as fact. All of us. But yeah, so early on, it was Gaumont, Pathé, Titanus, Nordisk. Okay, so Nordisk obviously is Dutch. So German film, Dutch, let's say the same difference. The rest, the other two are French, and the other one is Italian. So these are the first, and also when it comes to international film, let's say powerhouses, but not like Hollywood, not like the American movie industry or UK, the British movie industry, which has massive influence, especially in the mid 20th century, but as I'm revealing here from onset, in the American movie industry. So it's kind of like it's biblical, what I'm saying with Revelations. Mark of the Beast, 666, www. That was spawned in California. So the U.S., arguably the beast with the many heads and the crowns and the horns, with the major head being the U.K., which is now being crushed by bricks, by the red dragon, the red serpent, the beast, in overthrowing the whore of Babylon, which I argue is Israel. You see that playing out now. I mean, that's my interpretation of that. I could be way off, but whether that's actually biblical or not, or that interpretation, it's still going on. It's still bricks is taking over. It's been going on since the late 20th century, like officially buyouts and all that. But also its influence with its own companies. But also, yeah, I mean, it's just the Jews have managed the West, UK, Germany, US. That's a fact. Anyone who denies that is just misleading it. Why? Because they're Zionists. They're sellouts to this anti-Christian entity that has corrupted the masses worldwide for generations now. With what? With murder, pedophilia, all kinds of debauchery. And these are who they herald, and angrily so, with absolute visceral and extreme prejudice. I hope you're not hearing them, and please liberate yourself from this stuff. So you can see, yeah, Universal City here. This is one of their sound studios, Stage 15. Massive, 40 feet high, over 42,000 square feet. This is just one sound studio. And you see here in the top right, this is what they call the back lot. It's several sound studios, and this is only one movie production company. I mean, they're building entire cities in one city studio. Okay, entire cities, I'm overstating it. But it is, as you see, technically, officially a city in itself. But the one studio, it's a neighborhood. Look at this. They're building like, it's a neighborhood. I mean, it's just the money these people have. Never mind the influence and power. Not only directly over politics and politicians, and therefore the nation, which and therefore by extension the rest of the world, but through their media, the rest of the world, through their conditioning, their influence. And yet people want to, their extent of the argument is anti-Semite, conspiracy theory, and that's literally the extent of the argument. That's all they got. That's all they can say. Like jackass, Beavis and Butthead. That's the extent of the argument. Yet they want to call themselves doctor this, doctor that, and appeal to an authority. Bugger off. Take a jog. Yeah, so let's talk about the theme park. Something a little more uplifting. I want to say last year, but the year before. Now that last year is officially over. In 2023, I hosted 9.66 million guests. And we're talking about the amusement park alone. Any influence, anybody? That's physically going there, traveling to visit their amusement park. See, they got Krusty Land and Transformers and this and that and the other. And that's not even going into Disney, another major mega-conglomurate. I'm going to get to Disney. The creme de la creme. I'll get to Disney. God willing. 1950s Universal Studios lot increased its size, we just said, over 400 square feet. It's literally a city, literally, illegally too. Acquired additional land there. Okay, so I think it's 420 now. There are 6 Universal Studio parks across the globe. Of course, Hollywood, Orlando, Florida, which I visited, Japan, Singapore, Beijing, which my students brag about. See a pattern there? And Spain. That's an interesting choice. And the only one in Europe is in Spain. And that was actually a buyout of a pre-existing amusement park. So they might have something to do with that. Convenience, let's say. I don't know. Yeah. And how much of those things influence those people? So Universal Studios lot in LA is made up of 400 acres, where it said, includes more than 30 sound stages. Okay, again, you just saw the floor plans of one sound studio, how massive that is. We've got over 30 of them, 36 sound stages, and that's only one movie industry. How much stuff are they cranking out on a regular daily basis? I mean, especially these days with the internet, Netflix, just on and on. Yeah, it's got over 165 other structures. It's massive, as you can see, 165 other structures. Okay, we'll move on here. I apologize, I'm jumping around. Again, I'm using only one monitor, so if you're saying something in chat and it's not being acknowledged, my apologies. I have a feeling I'm not even on YouTube anymore. I could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if they already discontinued this, censored it somehow, the common Nazi pagans. They haven't even got to the showing yet, and they found a way to hide this, scumbags. Where was that? Oh, yeah, next slide. Okay, NBC International Broadcasting, or national, I say, international, really, broadcasting company. You can see the evolution of its logos. I want you to pay attention to the middle, and we'll talk about that. But just keep in mind that historically speaking, factually speaking, that the peacock is a pagan symbol of majesty, of royalty. Now, there's some Christians that would argue it's a symbol of heaven and all that. I don't know that discussion. I'm not nowhere a theologian to be able to expand on any of that and argue that either way. But matter of fact, it was employed before Christianity by pagan societies. Make of that what you will. And I've already discussed the rainbow there. The rainbow in this case, they allege, was to represent Universal's multifaceted, or the television says multifaceted, diverse nature. Sure. Yeah, so So it's founded by RCA, right? We'll talk about MCA briefly. RCA, Radio Corporation of America. So radio turned TV, and you see that in early television programming, especially with their variety shows. I mean, it was clear that there was a learning curve there to transition from radio to TV, and the quality and the production value. So this was in 1926, and it's the oldest of the big three we just discussed before, NBC, ABC, and CBS being the big three because they were the only three television networks for a half a century. And still major players up until the end of the 20th century. Even to this day, major players. I mean, Howard Stern makes fun of it, even though he's employed by it, and we'll talk about the Sterns in a minute too. The quote-unquote king of Jews, the king of media, the self-proclaimed king of media, Howard Stern, the scumbag, who's now quote-unquote a conservative. Bugger off. Take a hike. But his skit is making fun of NBC, so I appreciate that. He's making fun of one of the presidents back then who was trying to censor him, and therefore he's a problem. He's also complaining about the FCC, which FCC is really, at least these days, self-regulation. So, but yeah, they're complaining about it, yet they've already done all this crap. So imagine if they didn't have that censorship. What would it be like? But they're still getting away with murder with their self-regulation. Literally. That's come out, amongst other things. Anyway. But yeah, this kid is like, he's making fun of the president trying to give him a hard time about how he's saying the name of the company, which was W, again, W6, Vav. Why they put the W in front of everything? You tell me. WNBC. WNBC. I should have that clip so you guys can see it. It's quite funny. I'm doing a poor job of it. So GE was all over the place. These corporations who bought advertising, bought assets of the companies themselves, owned parts of the company, especially when they went public, dictated the content, FYI. And GE, by the way, has been bought up by foreign interests late 20th century too. Westinghouse, another scumbag organization. AT&T, another scumbag organization. United Fruit Company, you got me there. Then logistics over the road and dealt with fruit distribution and logistics for a while. That's intriguing. Out of Florida, what have you. All right. GE had to sell out due to antitrust infringement, but rebought RCA in the mid-'80s. Yeah, so the government said, yeah, you sell your interest out, which I'm not a fan of. I'm kind of skeptical about that. I'd like to think that was a good thing because they were not allowing them to corner the market, and it could very well be. But at the end of the day, in the 80s, and again, Mr. President, remember that guy who said, oh, don't worry about antitrust laws? RCA was allowed to then, while he was president, to rebuy this interest. Gee, what did that? What a coincidence. Mr. Hollywood himself, Mr. Bohemian Grove, a flagship subsidiary of Comcast. Okay, we've talked about that. Comcast is the main company, the head parent company. Offices located in New York and Chicago. Nothing shady going on in New York and Chicago. All right, the French Vivendi company bought and formed NBC Universal, merging these entities at the turn of the century, 2003. And a lot of things started changing in the 90s, a lot. And by the way, who was in charge of the 90s? Bill Clinton, Mr. Cigar himself, who completely dismantled America, its military, its education system, sold it out, opened the markets completely to foreign interests, made it more difficult for U.S. Companies to export, by the way. Yeah, he guy just is an absolute scumbag. Absolute scumbag, to say the very least. So yeah, then Comcast bought controlling interest in 2013. Comcast bought it out, let's say recently. So we talked about the peacock logo that was employed in the 50s, mid-20th century to symbolize the innovation of colorized TV. Okay, yeah, but we talked about its significance there. Am I on the right slide for you guys? Yep. Broadcasts in U.S., Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, which probably is a surprise to many people, but also Germany, intriguing, and South Korea. Huh. Squid Games, much anyone? That's interesting. South Korea, out of all the places. NBC's news reporting during Gulf War gave Muslim enemy real-time coordinates. So that was a pretty big thing. And that's why they changed how they do news reporting. Because during World War II, when that coalition forces started dropping bombs on in Iraq, in Baghdad, there was live news coverage of people right there in Baghdad. And they live time were saying, "Oh, look at this! This is what's going on right now. This is incoming flights, and so on and so forth." And of course, the enemy was watching these people live, and were getting a military advantage. So that became very controversial and changed things quite dramatically. Sexual harassment. The plague that includes forced non-disclosures. In other words, you shut up, or else you lose your career, your livelihood. You're going to die of starvation. Kind of like what's being done to me, Holodomor style, being starved out because I don't have a problem bending knee. FYI, I wish people stop using that expression. Won't bend knee. You bend knee. You bend knee to God. You should do it regularly, if not daily. Yeah. You bend knee. You have humility, but you don't sell out to the evil ones. Even if they kill you. Even if they kill you slowly. God have mercy on their souls. And that includes these wolves in sheep's clothing. These fake Christians and their cults. Harvey Weinstein cover-up. Played a role in that. Surprise, surprise. What's going on with that list, by the way? That came out in courts. When is that going to be revealed to the public? Shouldn't we know? Shouldn't we be able to protect ourselves from that? From their influence? Anyone? What kind of accountability is that? Anyone? All right. Speaking of accountability and wretched leadership, let's get to their Universal's managerial motley crew. As I already mentioned, it's, let's say, 50-50. 50 Jew, 50 potentially Masonic. Okay, so founded by Carr, this is pronounced Lemli. And from what I read, that's supposed to mean little sheep. Okay, I find that a little offensive, but we're all God's children, may be blessed. Mark Denton-Fass, never makes fun of my name. Charles O. Bauman, that's obvious ethnicity there. Adam Kessel, obvious ethnicity there. Pat Powers, British. Powers, maybe Masonic. William Swanson, no comment. David Horsley, British. Robert H. Cochrane, that's a popular name. No comment. And Jules Brulator, I guess. French. They threw in a Frenchman there for fun. And he's got some influence, so we'll talk about that in a minute here. All right, so Karl Lemle, a German Jew. Oh, look at that. Just when you thought he was French or something, Jewish. Was a bookkeeper in Chicago. Nothing shady there. Who married a Stern. We talked about Stern. And is the king of media. The Stern family royalty. And he appointed all kinds of Sterns, by the way, himself in leadership positions. That's what they do. And then anyone who complains about oppression and their favorite, oh, no, it's because they're God's chosen. They're still God's chosen, and that's why they have all this power. No, they're being fascists. FYI, you're a goy. Shut up, goy. Stop being part of the problem and misleading people. They've destroyed countless worldwide for over a century. And that's only we're talking about Hollywood. That's not getting into radio, print, or anything else. Only Hollywood. So shut your mouths, you Judases. Shut your mouths. I'd rather be with one of these scumbags than you Judases. I have more respect for Satanists. At least you know who you're dealing with. And you wolves in sheep's clothing. All right. He bought Nickelodeons, which are just, they're just small facilities. I don't want to call them speakeasies, but just little establishments that show these quote-unquote moving pictures early on. They had live music performances because there was no sound early on. And they did the things I gave away. It was very much bread and circus. I know bread and circus associated with Christianity. Bugger off. But this was very much bread and circus, literally buying people off. Hey, come in, watch your stuff. We'll give you free food. Giving it away. Vermont said, vaudeville, giving it away. But nobody calls that bread and circus. When the vaudeville is literally circus stuff. Hollywood was born from the circus entertainment. That was bread and circus. Hello? It's a wake-up call. Love you, people. I know it doesn't sound like I love you, people. I'm fighting for your souls, and I'm literally putting my life on the line for it. Dying slowly of starvation and in the cold. Because nobody wants to do anything with the truth. The truth. Okay. Jesus Christ himself, what did he call him? Den of vipers. That's not me speaking. So you bought Nickelodeon's franchise. Again, this is about distribution mostly. So they got their hands all over it, including distribution and where it's being showed. Which became independent moving picture company. Imp. Imp. Okay. Huh. I got to wonder if that was intentional. I'm sure it was, knowing these people. As much research as I've done, it's quite evident. They're all about revelation of the method, of having their laughs, rubbing our noses in, and having their fun. That's what Freemasons do, by the way, too. Hide it in plain sight. That eventually became Universal Pictures. So there we go. Relatives. Oh, by the way, I'm definitely going to do one on this whole vaudeville, early Hollywood stuff. Again, I don't think I'll be able to associate an early film with that. Maybe if I get my hands on the one I mentioned earlier, their first betrayal, rightfully titled, which is all about emasculation, I'm sure, without having seen it. I would love to get my hands on that. That would be a great one to show with that presentation. Or something like that. We'll see. I'll see what I can find. I'll come up with something. Relatives in the film industry included his cousins, Max Lemle, Kurt Lemle, and William Wyler, his nephew Ernest Lemle and Edward Lemle, his niece Carl Lemle, and his brother-in-law Isidore Bernstein, Joseph Stern, and Abe Stern. Oh, but they're God's chosen children. No. They're not letting you have a job because they're taking care of their own. They're power mongers. That's what they do. They put themselves in positions of power. They leverage. They buy out. They bribe. And if that doesn't work, then they get criminal on you. They kill your ass. And that's in addition to the rest of the debauchery. Just like Muslims. I mean, with friends like Jews, who needs Muslims? Yet these Christian apologists forcing you to choose either Judaism or Islam. Where's the discussion about Christ, man? Oh, by the way, when it comes to Mutt and Jeff, I'm going to share a short, actually, Mr. Atheist. And I really like this guy. Again, I really do. I know I complain about him. I'm complaining about their behaviors is what I'm complaining about. That needs to stop. Anyway, but Yeah, he said something that was really inspiring on his last live stream. I think it was yesterday. He was actually on Mr. Doctor himself, uh, Mr. Big Dick Wood, Dr. Wood, Dr. Big Dick. Anyway, excuse my language here. Um, yeah, he was on his channel, so I'm gonna clip that, and hopefully they don't ban me. I don't know. I doubt they will. They even tolerate my comments on live stream, so I don't think they'll allow me to do that. But yeah, it was quite moving, so I'm gonna share that. I just got so much stuff going on, but I'll do that. But by the way, people, I might be taking somewhat of a break, limiting myself to maybe one stream a week, if not every other week. So I get my publications. I know I've said that repeatedly before, but it's the ninth hour for me. I'm literally run out of money and time, and it's a last ditch effort, if not anything else, to at least get my publications out there, and not the best form, but better than no form at all. The original intent of those things was never about money. Was about to help. The original writing was about to help the broken home people, including the vile parents who caused a broken home. But yeah, to give them some guidance, idiots, useful idiots, but especially those suffering from the broken homes, the children. Yeah. Anyway, so I wrote some other books after that. The current one is about grooming, inspired by one of my students. I can't wait to get that done. Now it's going to be powerful. I need to get both of them done stat. The other one was just what has been done for years. It's a novella, and also have a younger version, picture rhyming book. Maybe I just need to scrap the rhyming, and the pictures I'm not a fan of. I've done like 3 or 4 different styles of pictures for that. I might just go back to the original style of art and just keep it simple, stupid, and don't worry about the rhyming so much. That way, that'll help me with the wording. Because you got to keep it simple. As it is a children's book, it's got to use absolute basic, simple wording, which is difficult to express anything meaningful and use only basic wording. It's the most difficult project I've ever done in my entire life. Is that one? So that's the hold up and hang up on that one. But the novella, over 100 pages long, that just needs professional editing. But I'm gonna have to forego that at this point and do my own editing, which is problematic all around. You should never do that. But I especially should not do that. Anyway, I'm going to do that. Put it out there. Better than nothing. And this other book that I'm currently skipping the second and third and jumping to the fourth, get that out there because it's about grooming, quite relevant now. There's some steam about that. So people are pushing back, so I want to jump on that and get this book out there. It's going to be quite powerful, quite informative, eye-opening for children, especially. That's the whole point. So I want to get that out there and piggyback on this movement while I still can, not for the sake of sales, but for the sake of now that it's not being censored. There's some momentum. Maybe this message get out there and have an effective impact on children, the victims themselves, and equip them with how to protect themselves from that, because parents are doing their job to protect them. Sorry, I'm just so sick of this stuff. So sick of it. All right. Excuse me. Give me a moment. Sorry. I'm sorry, people. I mean, for the love of God, people, at least protect your children, man. At least protect your children. Excuse me. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. All right, where were we? Let's get back to this. All right. Let's look at Mark Denton Foss, Okay, so he established Vim Comedy Company, which was bought by Bernstein after it's closed from theft. And theft what? External theft? He was being stole. People were stealing his stuff? No, he's the thief. So his company collapsed. Embezzlement. These are the people that are influencing the masses. Charles O. Bauman, born in New York and served as first Universal Pictures president. Shoot. Adam Kessel helped found New York Motion Picture, which is quite significant, and Keystone Film Companies, which is being heralded by mass media for allowing people to dictate their own, like people as in, not people you, people as in the chosen talent, gone through the screening process, the casting couch, whatever that entailed, and whatever loyalties entailed after that, followed after that, behaviors. That includes Charlie Chaplin. For whatever reason, the kid was banned by YouTube. I can't do a screening for that. I'll have to do a private screening on Rumble because it needs to be done. Not only was he a pedo in his private life, but you watch that movie and you can see from silent film early on, we were promoting pedoism. And he's the one, a founder of this company here. One of three major players. Powers. Swanson, Horsley, and Cochrane were British, Irish, Scottish. Cochrane was also a member of the Code Authority of the Motion Picture Industry. And there you go. Self-regulation from not onset, but early on. Jules Berlater, as we said, French, involved with Kodak, which I say was founded by a Jew. So even your pictures, I mean, it's not enough. Radio, movies, TV, print, internet, all spawned by and micromanaged by Jews and Freemasons and the rest. But even your pictures, even Kodak, that far. I mean, all of mass media, to the tooth, to the nth degree, anti-Christian because it's Hebrew. And Freemason, so therefore it's also pagan. All right, so Jules Berlater also in the National Association of Motion Picture Industry. I mean, you get the picture here. Let's move on. I'm sorry, I don't even know how long I've been going. An hour and a half of this. Hey, Darcy. I'm sorry. You came in at a. I'm being raw today. It just seems with every stream that I'm doing. And thank you for your blessings. God bless you and your prayers too. I have no doubt you're praying for me too, and for others. It's much appreciated. We certainly need it, as you can see. Yeah, I'm giving into the evil one, the dark side. I'm trying not to be corrupted by this stuff. I need to get my writings done, but I feel obligated, and that's a harsh word. It's tacky. And forgive me for putting it obligated, but I do. I feel it's a moral imperative for me to be doing this stuff too. So I want to be doing at least one thing a week. So I'll be doing a live stream, which takes the least time for me to prepare for. The edited videos, it takes me at least days. I mean, a straight cut would take me hours. So yeah, I mean, I've had projects that have taken me months. So I mean, yeah, at least the live streams. I need to keep that going. So yeah, but then yeah, I need to get these books out there. But yeah, again, I apologize for how raw I'm being. I'm doing my best here, but it's hard to keep it together. It really is a battle I could take. Okay, so let's get back to the presentation here. Where are we at? I'm sorry, I'm just clicking now. Where are we at? Oh yeah, okay, we're down to. I already said that. Let's go on to the next slide. Okay. So now we're talking the movie we're going to do the watch party for Trafficked Souls. Let me make some quick few notes, and I put these here for mostly for your information, entertainment. These original posters and advertisements. But the director. Oh, by the way, this is a 1913. The first full feature by Universal. 1913. made over $1 million in profit. $1 million in profit. That's not how much it made overall. Wow. It's minus advertising too, which is a big chunk. Back then, 1913, can you imagine how much that it's equivalent to today? Trafficking souls. And I haven't seen it yet myself. So I held off because I want to watch it with you guys for the first time, get my natural reactions. It's an hour-long film, silent film. It didn't come with music. I found this in archive.com. It's also in the Library of Congress. But so I put my own music together. I hope it's not too tacky. We'll see. But it's an hour long, so you won't suffer too much. But yeah, and once we do that, we'll have an open discussion about, and again, the link is pinned in the chat. You can come up anytime, even during the viewing if you want, for you to do that. But we'll have an open discussion about these things. I'll share a personal anecdote of my interactions with this element of human trafficking. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that, but I'm going to put myself out there, including some behavior that I'm quite ashamed of myself. Nobody's perfect, but just to show you guys that we're all capable of evils. So we need to guard ourselves from that. And praying unceasingly is the best way to go about that. But make sure you're praying to Christ, God, and therefore, in addition to praying unceasingly, you need to be in the church. You need to be part of the body. You need to be reading scripture. Make sure you're reading the right scripture. Even the King James, by the way, has mistranslations. So, and I'm not like an expert in biblical Greek myself. I'm not telling you to learn biblical Greek just to read the Bible, but try to get something that's a better translation, a transliteration, if you can. Well, I can't. Unfortunately, I'm not good enough of a scholar to recommend one to you. But just keep in mind, even the King James and the Lord's Prayer, something that's foundational. Things like daily bread and deliver us from evil. And these are major theological expressions that are being mistranslated and therefore misleading. So that's problematic. But yeah, scripture, fasting, by the way, something we don't really talk about a lot in the West. This is a practice of discipline, of dedication, of, yes, sacrifice and offering to God, sure, but also to temper your body and your spirit. Yeah. To strengthen it. So all these things will equip you in the spiritual warfare. They're all a must. We call that a prayer rule in the original traditional and still preserved Christian faith. All right, I'm going off at tangents. Let's get back to the presentation. Okay, let's talk about the director here. George Lone Tucker. Okay. So Tucker, you would assume, is his father's family name. No, sir. No pun intended. No, Lone is his father's name. So this dude put his father's name in the middle. And he's the one that's directing this major blockbuster, first full feature of Universal. That's who they picked to direct this movie. And because of this, because they had so much success, he went on to have a lucrative career, by the way. Okay, so as it says, mother's Tucker, his father's Lone. He wrote the original Cinderella Man. Just recently, there was a reboot, a remake of that, of the Cinderella Man, which was also award-winning. This too was award-winning back in the day. Would like to do a future screening of that as well. Okay, so in that movie is starred Mary Pickford, who was and formerly in the lost film Their First Misunderstanding. Again, what I've talked about that, I really want to get my hands on that. I would love to do a public screening if I can. I will anyway, on Rumble at least. But yeah, it's intriguing. I can't wait to get my hands on that because she too was one who established a United Artists, which involved Chaplin and so on. And D.W. Griffith, who again was a Freemason. Hollywood Masonic Lodge, right across the street, and where the first Oscars, the Academy Awards, were hosted, and to across the street since. Spent most of his career in the UK. After he became famous because of this movie, he went on to the UK just to make some movies there. He made some award-winning movies too. He became quite rich and famous in his own right back in the day. And that's who's influencing us. And that's who directed this movie we're about to watch. I think that's all I've got. I don't think I've left anything out. I hope this was informative, you guys. And again, anyone who's still arguing about, we're just talking about, we already covered Paramount extensively, some others. And I will get into Disney. I'll probably jump into Disney next because that needs to be done, especially with this again, gaining steam. I need to ride the wave of this human trafficking and pedophilia being exposed. So I need to ride that while I can and get that out there while it's not being completely censored. So I'll jump into Disney next. So something that I was thinking about, maybe if I become a monk, I'll focus on that instead because that'll be wholesome enough for me to still continue my work and doing that. But there's no better time like the present. So I might do that sooner than later. My next thing, by the way, is going to be Whoopi Goldberg. And I'll do at least one on that, one live stream on her. I already done a Sister Act with Amir, and that's available again in my movie lists, which are organized for you guys. You can look at the Amir movie list, and then, whatever list you call it, whatever those are called, and find that. But I will do one on her generally. In general, I won't do a watch party for any of her movies for copyright reasons. I'm sure they're all going to be an issue, but just because, whatever. I think a general description, maybe some clips from the here and there, and that's what I'll do there. But especially a home video about her being a pedo with adolescents, teenage, high school kids that she did a movie with in Sister Act. So I'll share that as well. And her early political views, including, saying the blacks are, genetically bred is not racist, but Jim the Greek was wrongfully accused. CNN is a propaganda machine. That's coming out of her mouth. Things like that. So I'll share clips of that too. And I'll follow up with Oprah Winfrey just to keep that theme going, so to speak. I'll do only one on her because that's all I'll be able to bear. And then from there, I'll jump on to Jack Shaheen, Mr. Islamophobia himself. And I'll probably do a few on that. Or, at the very least a couple, because there's a lot of movies to cover there. So I can see that being a lengthy series, longer than Eddie Murphy. We'll see how that goes. And then from there, I'll jump onto Disney. Nope, pun intended. Ooh, that was a bad way to put it. Okay, so enough of the silliness. Let's get to the movie. Again, the link is in the chat if you want to join, or join later for the discussion afterwards, where I'm bearing my soul. And you're free to come up and correct me. And again, if I misrepresent or get something wrong, it's not bravado or fake humility. I really want you guys to correct me. I'm not here for likes or super chats. As you saw in the last live stream, this channel was created as a non-monetary, non-monetized channel for educational purposes, as I say, so I can fight for your souls to help you better equip you with your fight, the spiritual warfare for your salvation. Yeah, I'm not trying to create a cult either by saying that. I'm just letting you know what this is about. It's not about me. It's about the damage mass media has done worldwide, immeasurable damage. It needs to stop. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Movie. Share this tab. Why is it not sharing? Oh, come on. Really? Oh, sorry, guys. Give me 1,000 clicks here. My apologies. Gotta do 1,000 clicks. I should let me do this while you guys are waiting for me to fumble around with my tech. Do this in a little annoying clip. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Voila. And we've got it. All right. Let me get my music ready. I'm sorry about the music. All right. No, this is not it.
Want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Oh, cool. I got on the very bottom. Let's put this too on the bottom. Okay. Okay. Let's get it. Let's get it rolling. Enjoy. And I'll catch you afterwards.
liking you. I like sex. It's nice. I liked it.
Dinky, 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 dinky.
Sexy time. So will she allow me to make a rape on her? Yes, a rape. I would like to make a rape. No, I would like to make...
You know, she was 9 years old. Aisha was 9 years old.
Emotional damage!
Shetani atakapoona mji ule ukishuka toka mbinguni ataona wivu. Kila mwenye pumzi na msifu Bwana. Msifuni Mungu katika patakatifu pake, msifuni katika ngala uweza wake. Kila mwenye pumzi na msifu Bwana. Msifuni kwa matendo yake makuu, msifuni kwa kadiri ya wingi wa ukuu wake. Kila mwenye pumzi na msifu Bwana. Msifuni kwa mvumo wa baragumu, msifuni kwa kinanda na kinumbi. Kila mwenye pumzi na msifu Bwana. Msifuni kwa matari na kucheza, msifuni kwa zeze na filimbi. Kila mwenye pumzi na msifu Bwana.
If only all these, I mean, it's like an uphill battle to get people convicted. The law, at least in the U.S., is designed really to protect criminals, it feels like. It's quite something.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What? English! Do you speak it? What? Say what again? I dare you. What?
I'm so stupid as a stupid does.
Yeah, you know, I gotta say, wow, bravo. I mean, I hate to say, my typical pisser self. Even a broken clock gets it right twice a day. That disclaimer being put out. This was so edifying to watch. And again, their first film, full feature, wonderful, wonderful, good for them. Yeah, I mean, I love this. I love the message. The first full feature, yeah, production value, it is what it is. I loved the nerd in me, the fanboy, loved the whole sci-fi bit in the beginning with that magic pen. I've got to wonder if there was some kind of symbolic significance there with the bane of the Cosmic Forge kind of thing. So, you know, even in Islam, they talk about the magic pen kind of thing. But yes, might be a stretch there. At any rate, like, yeah, I love this film. I love the fact that they did it, that they spent so much money on it. As we said, it was an extremely popular film. They made over $1 million in profit in 1913. But that's most likely because people can relate to it, just like we are right now, 21st century. Yeah, so the link's in the chat. If anyone wants to come up, let me go ahead and put that. It's pinned up, but let me go ahead and share it again. By the way, let me share this. YouTube censoring me. Let's see. Do a couple of clicks here. Sorry. Yeah, in live time, they like to do this, censor my comments. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Yeah, so you can see here. Can I bring that? Here we go. Yeah, so this is the comment. You saw it got through on Twitch, but excuse me. And you only saw it. Unfortunately, StreamYard, I can't get it set up with Rumble. I'm having issues with Rumble, but anyway, yeah. But YouTube just banned it because they're communist pagan fascists that like to not only protect vile terrorists like Muslims, but they also relentlessly promote their fundraising fronts, being sued, the UN orgs being sued because of it. But YouTube even tries to bombard our channel. Mine's not monetized. I should not be having any commercials on my stuff, by the way. If there is, let me know. We need to sue the hell out of these communist pagans. But anyway, and check this out. This recent release, speaking of bread and circus and this grooming and the stuff that they're doing. Come on. Why isn't that? Okay, I guess I got to do 1,000 more clicks. 1 second. Sorry. Stop. Move. Share. 1,000 more clicks. Okay. The quality of this image is not the greatest. But yeah, I mean, this is just all wrong in 1,000 ways. A special release only in movie theaters for a couple of days. So run and catch it. Peter Pan is grooming in itself. When you look at Tinker Bell and her relationship with Peter Pan, the little tiny girl Tinker Bell and Peter Pan, she's in love with him. And they reiterate that in Disney's Hollywood Marvel's recent The Eternals movie. Played on that again with a female character running around being too young. Okay, technically she's thousands of years old, but she's still a little girl, and she's chasing after this adult man, and there's a love triangle, so to speak, because of it. Playing this Tinkerbell Peter Pan thing. So in itself, it's already wrong, but now that they've made it nightmarish. And again, this is just one of ongoing on and on and on. I did before Disney got public with their grooming and their intent and their sodomy and all that promotion, grassroots movement with Turning Red. is the one I did a review on. I did a little edited video, so check that out. But the edited video, they gave me hell. It took me like 2 weeks of hours per day of trying to get past their censorship. They're just vile. They're just vile. They need to be held accountable. Thousands of YouTubers need to be put out of business. But do not allow bricks to take over, to fill that void. But yeah, I mean, so let me get to the movie. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm sorry about the music thing. If I'd watched it in advance, I might have had something a better setup for you. Certainly in an edited video, but it is what it is. It gave me an opportunity, if I thought about it before, instead of at the very end, an opportunity to use some of those audio clips that I'll never use. Anyway, so yeah, so let's get to the whole human trafficking thing and my own experiences, what I witnessed. But also let me direct you guys to, there's a number of organizations out there. If you ever see something suspicious, please do not, for the love of God and love of others, do not turn a blind eye. I'm going to share this in the chat as well. Make sure it's on Rumble, so give me a minute to do that. But it's called A21. Put that on stage so you guys can see it too. They are an organization, actually, forgive me for ringing my bell. I worked for a minute. I trust them. I wasn't like an insider, but they're obviously spending some resources to combat this. And as you see, I changed the background to where I was volunteering for what I call the front lines of this modern jizra, this invasion of Muslims worldwide, directed by the UN, if not forced, but certainly forced in Europe by the European Union. So A21 was busy with them because there was a lot of exploitation. There was even a documentary in the early 2000s made, In the World or something like that, which it's suspect, a documentary. I got to definitely put that disclaimer out there in the way it was filmed as a let's say not a movie producer, but yeah, someone who's have all this education experience in the field and the research that I'm doing on top of that. The way that documentary is composed is questionable as to whether or not it was valid, but let's say maybe it was. Either way, it brings up this interesting point of how these refugees are treated, and I could tell you firsthand that especially Turkey exploited a lot of them, charged them thousands just to come through, thousands each. Okay, and we can see that in the southern border in the U.S., the Mexicans and all that. That's been going on way before the wall issue, which was conjured just to make some people money and to further make this divide and distractions and shenanigans, because they were already trafficked. I mean, the wall does nothing with the process of trafficking already, which exists through logistics, through trucking companies and companies just, I mean, paying to go in and set it to literally traffic them in by the truckloads, by the carloads. So yeah, in this documentary, you see one of the people dies in the process, which is common. It's quite tragic. I mean, this is like, all they talk about is the African slave trade. And I'm not saying that's okay, but why is everything else, including current, not only being ignored, but being supported, again, by YouBoob and the support of this fundraising for these scumbag terrorists? It needs to be outlawed. These pagans, these fascists need to be outlawed. Instead, the left, the not right, is showing quote unquote solidarity with them via their mass media conditioning and prompting. Anyway, so yeah, that's my experiences with that. But also in the US, you want to learn some dirty secrets about your community. Be a cab driver for a day. Do a ride along with a cab driver. I was a cab driver for a couple of years, and in the tourist community. A shady one, a bit of a port city too. But yeah, all kinds of things. The movie industry and all that, golfing, corporate world. Man, do I have stories? Do I have some stories? Whew. But that being said, one of the things I did, and I was approached more than one occasion by dealing with a runaway, and I wish I was a better man back then, more knowledgeable on how to better deal with the situation of a young runaway girl who's being taken advantage of. I mean, don't get me wrong. Let me be frank. She was a little slut, but obviously, bad upbringing. Could have been saved. Could have been salvaged. I just didn't know how to handle it. All I could do was I saw her distraught out in the middle of the night outside of a club. Again, she was underage outside of a club. What else need to be said there? And I was like, man, this is just trouble waiting to happen. So I got out of line, which means out of the cab line. And you do that in the cab company, they will like pretty much kill you. So I took the chance to piss everyone off and have them coming after me to go up there and get this girl. So nothing bad happens to her, and I brought her to a family member's home because she was young and attractive. I ain't gonna lie, it was tempting. So I didn't want to bring her to my home. I didn't want to tempt myself that way. So I brought her to family's member's home instead. There's a story there. Nobody was home, which probably worked out better. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It just so happened there was a medical emergency. So everybody was vacant in the hospital. And meanwhile, I'm bringing this girl to their home. So when they come home, they're like, what the heck what's going on here? But yeah, I put her in one of the bedrooms. I slept on the couch. In the morning, all I could do was give her my business card and encourage her, hey, you know what? I'm there for you if you need. I hadn't known about 821 or the other organizations. But yeah, there's definitely some wrongdoing there. She's staying at an older person's home. Yeah, it was just, oh man. I wish I could have done more there. I mean, there's other number of instances I wish I could have done more, been more of a man, more knowledgeable in these kinds of things. Had the boldness of God. Shoulda, woulda, but you know, make amends for it. You repent. You do better next time. So, but also as a cab driver, I got to say, when we had, what was it? It was not Y2K. It was it was the 9/11 incident that crippled the economy. Officially, we shut things down for a week. In a couple places, in only in certain fields that extend for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. Remember the 2 weeks to flatten the curve? There you go. That started 9/11 America, 2001. And that destroyed it was already in recession for like maybe a decade or so, maybe arguably 3 decades since the 70s, arguably. I mean, you know, Reagan came around, and then, you know, that's when the flooding thing of that came about, was in the 80s. And we had a good life in the 80s, but via debt. We staked our futures on it for that 1 decade. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, outside of that, and arguably them kind of fortified things, but yeah, it was in a recession. So now when the 2 weeks shut down, the economy shut down, it devastated people. I mean, it's part of the reason to this day I'm suffering. Literally, probably going to die of starvation in a couple of months. Definitely should be okay for till next month. But anyway, so yeah, you know, it's yeah, I'm getting off at tangents here. Sorry. Yeah, so the cab business. I mean, basically, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, the cab business. Yeah, it's shutting it down 2 weeks, crippled economy. I was desperate. So I was desperate. We were out there on the weekend in a tourist town in the middle of summer where you were making hundreds a day. That's where we made all our money during the summer season, the tourist season. And on a weekend, you made hundreds a day, like at least a couple $100, even if you're new to the field, which I was. From that to making $20 a day on a Saturday night in the heart of summer. $20 a night. And literally I was paying to spend 12 hours out there a day and do other things. I was paying to work because $20 didn't even cover fuel. And so when these fronts that were basically right in front of the shopping mall, literally in their parking lot, there was like 2 or 3 of them. And there were others in town. There were massage parlors and the lingerie display places. I mean, they weren't like in Germany, like that. It was much more not subtle, hidden, but not really hidden in plain sight. I mean, everybody really knew what his massage parlor was. I mean, if you weren't really involved in it, you didn't. Maybe you're like, okay, maybe this is just a conspiracy theory. I'll just brush it off. I'll pretend it doesn't exist, even though you drive by it every day. It's right there in your shopping mall where all the kids are. So yeah, I mean, the Japanese or Oriental ones or Chinese, whatever they were shipping people in. You know, I helped. I was picking up from the airport and taking them back and forth and all that. Again, I was approached by a number of women. They wanted me to pimp them out because they wanted to be solo, independent, but they needed protection because there's all kinds of things going on, which of course I refused. And I don't regret that. A small part of me regrets that because maybe I could have somehow protected them and talked them out of it. But no, that's just not realistic. But yeah, the one thing I did do. So these massage parlors that I told you about that were obvious brothels. They were offering, like, if you brought customers to them, to us cab drivers, they're offering us like $20 a person. So if you're like spending 12 hours a day in the middle, we're supposed to be making a couple $100. Instead, you're pulling out money to pay to be out there and hoping something will turn around. And they're offering you like $20 strip joint, $50 a person. Yeah, you're going to do the sales pitch. And I'm not saying you're going to, you have to. I'm saying even someone like me, and I wasn't, let's say, religious back then, but I had my ins and outs, but that was definitely one of my dark periods. Yeah, I fell for it. I bent knee. I bent knee to the evil ones, and I played the game. And I remember the one experience that really sticks with me. Kind of, it makes me nauseous thinking about it. Just how poor, how lacking of character I was, how much I sold out. Again, not a lucrative night. I had one customer. I got fortunate. He wanted me to drive him across town. So we're talking about a $23 ride back then. And I got half of it. I had to pay for the fuel and, these other things for the vehicle. And of course, my time. So, I mean, I wasn't getting $10 out of that. So $10, hey, I mean, that's all things considered, that's great. But hey, you know what? Here's a guy, he's all alone. It's late. Maybe I can make an extra $20. Maybe I can convince him to go to a strip joint. I mean, a strip joint, to one of these massage parlors with the quote unquote happy endings. And yeah, I'm sitting there the whole time. It's like a good 15-minute ride more. I'm talking to this guy, working everything I can, trying to get him to convince him to go to these places. And the whole time he's smiling. And at one point, and he's sitting up front in the passenger seat up front. At one time, he kind of awkwardly puts his elbow in the middle part, the shoulder kind of thing, and he puts his hand on his head, kind of leaning over, but very awkward. You can see there's discomfort in the awkward position he was in. Like, what is he doing? And I'm driving again. Keep in mind, I'm driving, but I look over, and I see a wedding band on his hand. So this guy, who's smirking at my sales pitch, can see right through it, and who knows who he was actually. Is trying to tell me, not nicely, nonchalantly, hey man, I'm married, back off. Without, in consideration of my feelings and my pride even. And what do? Do I shut up? No. No, I continue my pitch. It's something I regret to this day. Thankfully, he was a man, and he ignored my nonsense, thank God. But yeah, something I deeply regret, even though I didn't get him to. I did get a couple other guys. Got the guys who may have been going, but I'm maybe letting myself off the hook there. May have been going anyways. I can't say for sure, but I definitely took the money and put it in my pocket. That's for sure. I had no issues doing that. And then when people ask me, hey, should I go there? I was like, yeah, you heard about it? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, I wish I was all of it, but yeah, I mean, there was a time myself when, speaking of desperation, when I was, again, there was a couple times where I was homeless in my life. One time when I was a truck driver, I had nowhere else to turn. No, anyways, I don't want to get into that. I ended up in the corporate world for a while. Oof, talk about an open eye opener there. And they set you up for disaster. They set you up where you're completely dependent on them, and they want you to be backstabber, rat. And then this is not a conspiracy theory and exaggeration. And so I was like, no. And I tried to be virtuous and open, like you see me now. Hey, you know what? I'll just put the truth out there. And so I went to the manager I was supposed to be backstabbing and said, look, this is a situation, but I think we can turn this place around and get things going again. I think we can work together. And what does she do? She gets all inferior complex on me and starts backstabbing me and chases me off. And the court forced the corporation because I wouldn't, be a spy for them, disown me. And then next thing I know, I'm having problems getting hired. So I got blacklisted too, it looks like. But yeah, so I was desperate. I became a truck driver, this, that, and the other. So I was working for a friend who had some shady associations. Let's leave it at that. Because I had nowhere else to go. And I was facing a car payment that was like, I don't know, $300 give or take, which is a lot more than I had. And so I was propositioned by a woman, and not even so great looking, by the way. It probably goes, I've been propositioned by others, but anyway. But yeah, in this situation, I was desperate. I'm like, what am I going to do? And so, yeah, I got to say, I was a half a step away from sleeping with a woman for money. So I personally relate to this sex-like trafficking and how some fall into it. But even those that do it because they choose are then terrorized. Their families are threatened. They're completely controlled. So once you're in, it's like Islam. Once you're in, good luck getting out. Not to mention the drugs further make you dependent. So, yeah, not enough is being said about that. I'm glad there's a pushback. I might have PC. He's approached me about doing a stream on what's going on in the UK, and I'll use that as an opportunity to talk about the grooming in general, the pedophilia, which I've got all kinds of ammo saved up for that. That's a series. I'll definitely get into that stuff by the time I get to the Disney stuff, which goes hand in hand, if not sooner. So, there's a lot to be uncovered, but, the bottom line is that when there's a window of opportunity, you need to grab it with both hands. If you see something that's awry, that's questionable, I'll reach out. Again, the organization A21, the link is in the chat. I'll include it in the description as well. Did I put it over in Rumble? No, I put it over Rumble. Shame on me. And yeah, what can I say? Faith without works is dead. And for those of you who disappeared on me, you too, you know what I'm talking about. If you happen to hear this, shame on you and your behavior, by the way. There you go. You know them by their fruits. Because I said you should keep God's law, you treated me with abuse. One of you even said, when you're done being Greek, quote unquote, when you're done being Greek. All the things I've said about that, all the way Greeks are being treated. And now you're playing victim and saying, when you're done being Greek, what is that supposed to mean? So, shame on you and your behavior. It's anti-Christian by definition, but on every level. And I hope you repent. I hope you repent at least for your own sake. But stop lying to people, deceiving them, and tell them you don't need God's law. God's law saves us from this stuff, from human trafficking, from people like you, let me be frank, from all the evil, and from ourselves. From ourselves. So when we get into a position where we're driving a cab and we're paying to work for 12 hours a day, we don't do something evil like trying to convince a married man to go to a brothel. That's what the law is for. Oh, I have good intention. I'm a nice guy. I've got my faith. Faith alone. Screw you and your scumbag cult. It's disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourselves. I have more respect for Satanists than I do for the wolves in sheep's clothing, for the Judases. God have mercy on your souls and repent. And I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. So keep your apologies, but I doubt ego-driven people like you have any apology or sympathy or remorse for your behaviors. You're self-righteous. And the trope that you provide for Hollywood, by the way, and how much you drive people away from God. Yeah, the best you can do is flash in the pan. Oh, you know, let me tell you a story. I don't want to get off on a tangent, actually. I've got all kinds of stories, but it's just, you people, you Judases are the worst. You are the worst. Shame on you. Stop it. I forgive you, but you need to shut your mouths, number one, by telling people to not follow the law. And number two, repent for your own sake. Stop it. Snap out of this delusion, this cult delusion, this lie. It came out of God's mouth. Keep these commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor. Jesus Christ said it. If you're saying that, hey, you need to ignore that because of the crucifixion, then what? What is the ministry about? You need to ignore everything? Or are you going to pick and choose that because your cult said so, justifies your cult's existence, and they're give you a 10% or you're going to hell? Stop it. Shut your mouths with a don't follow God's law. Shut your mouths, you Judases. Number one, first and foremost. And number two, for your own sake, repent. All right. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like it, but there's a lot of evil going on in this world, and I'm burnt out. So I'm done. I'm done with the kitty gloves and biting my tongue and all that. I'm dying over here. I'm running out of time. So might as well tell it like it is. Might as well make you a little uncomfortable, as someone put it. Might as well make you a little uncomfortable. It'll help you realize how to line all this evil is, especially the wolves in sheep's clothing. I mean, with friends like you, Jews like you, Freemasons like you, who needs Mormons? Who needs Muslims? Who needs Satanists? I'm almost rather prefer them. I almost rather prefer the libtards. Well, at least you know what you're dealing with. All right, guys. I love you. And again, I know this doesn't sound like this is like I do love you. This is a tough love. As I say, this is coming out of love. It really is. I mean, I literally cut myself out of my support line. The one thing that might have helped me pay my electric bill next month, in hopes that it will get through and spare us from nastiness. I mean, this person is already ill, so he doesn't need me going back and forth with the angry back and forth that he's too ego-driven, egotistical to even listen to. Beyond reproach. There's nothing Christian about that. Nothing at all. In fact, quite anti-Christian, as I've explicitly expressed here. All right, God bless you. Pray for everyone. We all need our prayers, including me, obviously. You guys, if you haven't noticed, I need your prayers. And not only the death thing, which is significant too. Absolutely, prayer support if you can. But yeah, I mean, obviously my salvation first and foremost. This stuff is getting to me, and I don't like that. So pray for me. Pray for me. I appreciate it. God bless you all. Love you all. Keep on keeping on. Blessed are those who endure to the end.
I see.